The TSA agent laughed when the elderly veteran refused to remove his military medal for the security scanner. "Take off that fake medal, old man. This isn't a costume party." But when the three-star general waiting in line behind him saw what was hanging around the veteran's neck, the entire terminal went dead silent. Captain Derek Matthews, 29 years old and full of himself, had been working TSA security at Denver International Airport for 3 years. He prided himself on being the toughest agent on his shift, the one who didn't let anyone bend the rules. Not celebrities, not politicians, and especially not old-timers trying to play dress-up with military decorations they probably bought online. The Monday morning rush was in full swing when 81-year-old Robert Bobby Chen approached Matthews's security checkpoint. Bobby moved slowly, using a walking stick, and wore a simple navy blue blazer over khaki pants. Around his neck hung a distinctive medal on a red, white, and blue ribbon, one that Matthews immediately dismissed as fake. "Sir, you need to remove all jewelry and medals before going through the scanner," Matthews announced loudly, making sure other passengers could hear his authority. Bobby looked up with calm, weathered eyes. "Son, this medal doesn't come off. It's never come off." Matthews rolled his eyes dramatically. "Look, Grandpa, I don't care what you bought at the Army surplus store. TSA regulations are TSA regulations. Remove the fake medal or you don't fly today." But what he didn't know yet. Standing 3 people behind Bobby in line was Lieutenant General Patricia Harrison, a decorated 3-star general traveling in civilian clothes to attend a classified briefing at the Pentagon. She had been checking her phone when she heard the commotion, but when she looked up and saw what was happening, her blood ran cold. The medal around Bobby Chen's neck wasn't fake. It wasn't from a surplus store. It was the Medal of Honor, America's highest military decoration, and General Harrison knew immediately that she was witnessing a catastrophic mistake. "Agent Matthews," Bobby said quietly, reading the name tag, "I understand you have a job to do, but this medal has special significance. Perhaps we could find another way to handle this?" Matthews laughed loudly enough for half the security area to hear. "Special significance? Yeah, right. Do you know how many fake heroes I see coming through here every week? Take it off now, or I'm calling my supervisor." Other passengers began to notice the confrontation. Some pulled out phones to record what they assumed would be another viral airport security incident. That's when everything changed. General Harrison could no longer remain silent. She stepped out of line and approached the security checkpoint, her command presence immediately obvious to anyone with military experience. "Excuse me, Agent Matthews," she said in a voice that carried unmistakable authority. "I need to speak with you immediately." Matthews barely glanced at her. "Ma'am, please return to your place in line. I'm dealing with this gentleman's non-compliance right now." "Agent Matthews, look at me," Harrison commanded, her voice cutting through the airport noise like a blade. When Matthews finally looked up, he saw a woman whose bearing and tone suggested she was used to being obeyed without question. But his arrogance was stronger than his survival instincts. "Ma'am, I don't care if you're the Queen of England. This man needs to remove his fake medal, and that's final." Harrison's eyes went to Bobby, who was standing with the patient dignity of someone who had endured far worse treatment than an ignorant TSA agent could dish out. "Mr. Chen," Harrison said, her voice filled with profound respect, "it would be my honor to assist you through this checkpoint." Bobby looked surprised that someone had recognized him, but nodded gratefully. The biggest shock was still coming. "Agent Matthews," Harrison said, her voice dropping to a dangerous quiet, "do you have any idea what you're looking at?" Matthews crossed his arms defiantly. I'm looking at an old man wearing a fake medal who thinks the rules don't apply to him. You're looking at Medal of Honor recipient Bobby Chen, United States Army. The medal around his neck was personally presented to him by President Nixon for actions above and beyond the call of duty during the Vietnam War. The words hit the security checkpoint like a shockwave. Conversations stopped. Phones came up to record not a routine confrontation, but a historic moment of recognition. Matthews felt his confidence wavering but doubled down on his arrogance. Yeah, right. And I suppose you're some kind of general? Harrison reached into her purse and pulled out her military identification. Lieutenant General Patricia Harrison, United States Army. And yes, Agent Matthews, I am some kind of general. But wait, there's more. The impact of Harrison's words rippled through the security area. Other passengers, realizing they were witnessing something extraordinary, gathered closer. Airport staff began to take notice. Someone had already posted the confrontation on social media with the caption, "TSA agent doesn't believe Medal of Honor is real." Matthews examined Harrison's military ID with trembling hands. The 3 stars, the official seals, the security features, it was unmistakably genuine. Ma'am, I didn't know. Of course you didn't know, Harrison replied coldly. Because you didn't ask. You didn't show respect. You didn't recognize that some things are more important than your petty authority. Bobby Chen had remained silent during this exchange, but now he spoke quietly. General Harrison, Agent Matthews is just doing his job. Perhaps we could resolve this without further incident. It was an act of grace that made Harrison's respect for the old veteran deepen even further. What happened next surprised everyone. Before anyone could respond, the airport's PA system crackled to life with an announcement that sent chills through everyone present. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been informed that Medal of Honor recipient Robert Chen is currently in our facility. On behalf of Denver International Airport, we extend our deepest gratitude for his service to our nation. Matthews felt the blood drain from his face as he realized the magnitude of his mistake. The Medal of Honor wasn't just another military decoration. It was the highest honor America could bestow on a warrior. There were fewer than 70 living recipients in the entire country, and he had just called one of them a fake. Mr. Chen, Matthews stammered. I apologize, sir. I had no idea. Bobby looked at the young man with understanding eyes. Son, how could you have known? But perhaps next time, you might consider that not everything you don't recognize is automatically fake. The real surprise was, Airport Security Supervisor Maria Rodriguez had been monitoring the situation from the security office. When she realized what was happening, she practically ran to the checkpoint. Agent Matthews, step away from your station immediately, she ordered. Mr. Chen, sir, please accept our most sincere apologies for this incident. Behind Rodriguez came airport manager David Thompson, who had been alerted by the social media posts that were already going viral. The video of a TSA agent calling a Medal of Honor fake had been shared thousands of times in the past 10 minutes. Mr. Chen, Thompson said, slightly out of breath. I'm David Thompson, airport manager. Sir, we are mortified by this incident. Please allow us to escort you to our VIP lounge while we sort this out. But the story was far from over. General Harrison wasn't finished with Agent Matthews. If this story of respect, recognition, and the honor our veterans deserve is moving you, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We share these important stories because every veteran's service matters, and their sacrifices should never be forgotten or mocked. Hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss these powerful reminders of American heroism. That's when the phone rang. Rodriguez's radio crackled with an urgent message from the TSA district office. Word of the incident had reached federal authorities, and they were not pleased. "Rodriguez, this is District Director Williams. I've got calls coming in from the Pentagon, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and 3 different news stations. What the hell is happening at your airport?" Rodriguez looked at Matthews, who appeared to be having an out-of-body experience. "Sir, we have an agent who challenged the authenticity of a Medal of Honor recipient's medal and refused to allow him through security." The silence on the radio lasted so long that Rodriguez thought the connection had been lost. "Rodriguez, please tell me you're joking." "No, sir. It's all been recorded by passengers. The videos are already online. I'm sending a team from headquarters immediately. Agent Matthews is suspended pending a full investigation. And Rodriguez, find out what we can do to make this right with Mr. Chen." Everyone learned the truth, but the real shock. As word spread through the airport, something remarkable began to happen. Passengers who had been rushing to catch flights stopped to approach Bobby Chen. Active duty military personnel in uniform sought him out to shake his hand. Flight crews left their posts to pay their respects. An elderly woman approached with tears in her eyes. "Mr. Chen, my husband served in Vietnam. He never made it home. Thank you for your service." A young soldier on leave stood at attention and saluted. "Sir, it's an honor to meet you." Bobby accepted each interaction with humble grace, the same way he had accepted Agent Matthews's disrespect, with dignity that spoke to a lifetime of putting duty before personal comfort. General Harrison watched this spontaneous display of respect and realized she was witnessing something powerful. In an age when veterans often felt forgotten or overlooked, this moment of recognition was restoring something important. But she wasn't done with Matthews yet. "Agent Matthews," she said, approaching the suspended TSA agent, "do you understand what you've done here today?" Matthews nodded miserably. "I disrespected a war hero, ma'am. I called his Medal of Honor fake." "You did more than that," Harrison replied. "You revealed something troubling about how our society treats veterans. Mr. Chen didn't demand special treatment. He asked for basic respect, and you couldn't give him even that." Matthews looked at Bobby Chen, who was graciously accepting thanks from grateful Americans across the terminal. "General Harrison, how can I make this right?" Harrison considered the question carefully. "You can start by learning who our heroes really are. You can educate yourself about the sacrifices made by the men and women who serve this country. And you can remember that respect isn't something you give only after someone proves they deserve it." The transformation that followed was unprecedented. Within hours, the video of Matthews mocking Bobby Chen's Medal of Honor had been viewed millions of times. But instead of just becoming another viral shaming incident, it sparked a national conversation about how America treats its veterans. The Department of Veterans Affairs used the incident to launch an education campaign about military honors and decorations. TSA implemented new training protocols about recognizing and respecting veterans and their service. Bobby Chen, who had simply been trying to catch a flight to visit his grandchildren, found himself at the center of a movement to honor forgotten heroes. News stations across the country wanted to interview him. The story of his Medal of Honor action, leading a rescue mission behind enemy lines that saved 23 American prisoners of war, was told and retold on every major network. But Bobby's response to the attention was characteristically humble. "I didn't serve for recognition," he told reporters. "I served because it was my duty." Every veteran who comes home carries stories of service. We don't all have medals, but we all deserve respect. Agent Matthews faced disciplinary action that effectively ended his TSA career. But the story didn't end there. 3 months after the airport incident, Matthews received an unexpected phone call. "Derek? This is Bobby Chen. I was wondering if you might like to join me for lunch." Matthews couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Mr. Chen, after what I did to you, why would you want to have lunch with me?" "Because, son, I think you learned something that day. And I think you might be ready to learn more." They met at a small diner near the airport. Over coffee and sandwiches, Bobby told Matthews stories about his service, about the men he had served with, about the weight of carrying honor that others had died for. "Derek, you made a mistake. But mistakes are only permanent if we don't learn from them. You want to make things right? Then help other people understand what service really means." Matthews listened, humbled by the grace of a man he had wronged so publicly. "Mr. Chen, how do I do that?" "You start by respecting the next veteran you meet. Then the one after that. Then you teach others to do the same." A year later, Derek Matthews had transformed his life. He left his TSA job and became a volunteer coordinator at the local Veterans Affairs Hospital. He organized honor flights for aging veterans to visit war memorials. He spoke at schools about the importance of respecting those who serve. And every month, he had lunch with Bobby Chen, learning more about service, sacrifice, and the quiet dignity of America's heroes. The airport incident that could have ended Matthews's career became the beginning of his purpose. General Harrison, meanwhile, used her experience at the airport to advocate for better veteran recognition programs throughout the military. She often told the story of Bobby Chen and the TSA agent as an example of how respect, once lost, could be rebuilt through education and humility. Bobby Chen continued to fly regularly to visit his grandchildren. Every time he went through airport security, TSA agents recognized him and treated him with the honor he deserved. Not because of the viral video, but because they had learned to see the service behind the uniform, the sacrifice behind the medal. The Medal of Honor around his neck had never come off, just as he had told Agent Matthews that day. It represented not just his own heroism, but the valor of every American who had answered the call to serve. Sometimes it takes a moment of disrespect to teach a nation about honor. Sometimes it takes seeing a hero mocked to remember why heroes matter. And sometimes it takes a young man's mistake to remind us all that respect isn't earned by the person receiving it. It's given by the person who understands that some things are sacred. Bobby Chen's Medal of Honor had survived decades of war and peace, had been carried through jungles and ceremonies, through moments of recognition and years of quiet anonymity. But on that Monday morning at Denver International Airport, it served its most important purpose, reminding America that heroes walk among us every day, carrying their honor quietly, asking for nothing more than the respect their service has earned. The terminal had indeed frozen that day, frozen in a moment of recognition that spread across a grateful nation. And in that moment, America remembered something it should never forget: that freedom isn't free, and those who pay the price deserve our highest honor, not our careless dismissal.